So when you hear the phrase crypto crime, what pops into your head? For most of us, it's probably hackers in dark hoodies, right? These shadowy networks pulling off crazy digital heists. It all feels super high-tech, like something straight out of a movie. But what if I told you that whole picture is basically wrong? Let's get into it.
Okay, that's a pretty bold statement, isn't it? It's from a digital forensics expert named Nick Furnos, and it just completely flips the script on this whole issue. And the idea behind it is actually really simple, but it's also incredibly powerful. We're not seeing a new wave of crime. We're just seeing old crimes with a new tool.
So yeah, let's totally deconstruct this myth. We're going to reframe this whole thing not as some new alien threat, but as something that's, frankly, depressingly familiar. It's just wearing a new digital disguise.
And it becomes so obvious when you just break it down like this. I mean, look, on one side, you've got your traditional crimes, theft, fraud, laundering, stuff that's been around forever. And on the other side, you have so-called crypto crimes. And what do you know? It's the exact same list. The only thing that's changed is the plumbing. Crypto isn't the crime itself. It's just a modern-day getaway car or the new digital offshore bank account.
You want to hear a perfect example? Police in London were tracking this drug dealer. They expected to find thousands in cash on him when they made the arrest, but when they finally got him, he had almost nothing. So what happened? Well, he wasn't stuffing cash under a mattress. He was just walking into the local corner shop, feeding his money into a Bitcoin ATM, and zapping the funds up the criminal food chain. See? He's not a crypto criminal. He's a drug dealer who found a new, more efficient tool.
So, looking at it this way really helps us understand the real challenges for law enforcement. Because if the crime itself isn't on the blockchain, well, then the solution isn't just on the blockchain either. You know, everybody gets super excited about step 2, the track and trace phase. That's the cool Hollywood part, right? Following the money across the blockchain. And yeah, that part is amazing. But you talk to investigators and they'll tell you the real problem, the biggest bottleneck, is step 1, discovery. Just realizing crypto is even part of the picture. How many times has an investigator missed the crucial evidence because they just didn't think to look for a crypto wallet app on a suspect's phone?
And even when they do find it, this whole cascade of other problems kicks in. You know, an expert named Alistair MacGibbon points out that cybercrime is a high-volume, borderless game. One single scammer can hit thousands of victims across dozens of different police jurisdictions. And these guys, they often work from so-called safe havens, places where local law enforcement is either weak or maybe even in on it. For them, it's just this perfect storm of high reward and incredibly low risk.
So here's the bottom line. The biggest challenge for investigators isn't some kind of unbreakable code on the blockchain. Not at all. It's the much more basic, real-world headache of just finding that first clue, and then trying to enforce laws in a world that has no borders, where criminals can operate almost freely.
And while the risk is low for the criminals, the cost for their victims is just devastatingly high. We can get lost in all the technical and legal details, but we can't forget what's truly at stake here. It's the people. The human impact of these crimes is absolutely heartbreaking.
You've probably heard the term by now, but do you know how this particularly nasty scam actually works? It's called pig butchering, and the name, as awful as it is tragically accurate.
So it all starts with building this deep, personal trust, a lot of times through a fake romance online. Then the scammer starts giving investment advice. They encourage small investments at first, and they show these fake profits to, well, fatten up the pig. Once the victim is totally convinced they've found both true love and a financial genius, they're persuaded to invest everything, their life savings, their retirement funds, all of it. And then, poof, silence. The person they loved and trusted is gone, and so is all their money. It's a double hit. They steal your wallet, and they break your heart.
And this threat is just exploding. According to Ari Redboard over at TRM Labs, there was a 500% increase in AI-enabled scams just last year. We're talking deepfake videos of your family members in trouble, or phishing emails so perfectly personalized you'd swear they were real. The days of spotting a scam because of some bad grammar, they are long gone. But here's a layer to this that makes it even more twisted. Nick Furnos reports that a lot of the people who are actually carrying out these scams are victims themselves. They've been trafficked, forced to work in these massive scam compounds in places like Southeast Asia, and they're made to defraud people under the threat of violence against them and their families back home. It's just a horrifying, vicious cycle of victimization.
Okay, so the problem is enormous. It's complex, it's global, and it's deeply human. How in the world do you even begin to fight back?
Well, the answer isn't just doing more of the same old thing. It's about building a totally new kind of alliance, a united front against a common enemy. See, the old model of different teams working in their own little silos, it just doesn't cut it anymore. The future, and we're seeing this with groups like the Beacon Network, is a real-time disruption network. This is where you have global law enforcement, crypto exchanges, data analytics firms, and even traditional banks all working together, sharing info instantly to stop these illicit transactions while they're actually happening.
And this quote from Ari Redboard just nails the goal here. This isn't about having more meetings or writing another report. It's about leveraging all that cooperation for what he calls operational wins. That means real-time disruption, freezing criminal funds and seizing assets. It's about making a real, tangible dent in their operations.
And that brings us to the final and maybe most crucial idea. If you're gonna fight a threat that moves this fast, you need a fundamental shift in how you think. You need what's being called the day one mindset.
Ari Redboard describes this as the philosophy that it's always day one. Complacency is the biggest risk you face. It doesn't matter if you're building a company or trying to protect the entire financial system, you have to stay, as they say in the musical Hamilton, young, scrappy, and hungry. You have to operate under the assumption that the bad guys are innovating every single day. Because they are. And that means you have to too.
And really, that's what it all comes down to. The technology will keep changing, the scams will get more and more sophisticated, and the criminal networks will always adapt. So the most important question we have to ask ourselves isn't about our tools, it's about our thinking. The threats are in a constant state of evolution. The real question is, are we?